There's a huge COVID explosion in India. India right now is witnessing a highly contagious and lethal second wave of COVID-19. The healthcare infrastructure is overstressed, with COVID numbers surging tremendously. As COVID cases continue to surge across the country, we are seeing shortage of medicines, beds. People have to wait for several hours to get tested for COVID. Hello everyone, this is Tina Thakkar from the Economic Times. Joining here with us is Professor K. Srinath Reddy, President Public Health Foundation of India, to share an overview of the severity of COVID in India. Hello, Dr. Reddy. Did we ever expect such a surge?
Well, I did not expect such a surge to come so swiftly and so strongly, but I was concerned and worried that with the kind of laxity that we were displaying in our personal conduct of abandoning all physical protection by way of masks or participating in large crowds, and of course, even the overall attitude of various public administrations which did not prevent large crowds from gathering, whatever be the reason. I was worried that we might actually see a surge, but the speed at which the cases have soared up is indicative of the fact that A, we are paying a price for the super spreader events that have invariably taken place because of the multiple large gatherings all across the country, whether they were personal affairs like weddings and birthday celebrations or parties or political rallies or religious gatherings or cricket tournaments or whatever. I think we have paid the price for that.
Are you saying we got complacent and comfortable in February and beginning of the March? That's what you were saying, sir?
Yes, actually, I think from middle of January, because by early January, our cases had come down markedly. And that is when we started becoming complacent. And the fact that our vaccination program began in the middle of January, but was an easy-paced one. We first looked at health workers, then we looked at other essential workers, then we said we'll come to other people who are aged and with comorbidities. So in a sense, there was a general feeling that we can afford to do it in a fairly deliberate, leisurely manner because we had put the pandemic behind us. And the feeling, even propagated by some public health experts, unfortunately, and by some mathematical modelers, that we have attained herd immunity, that the vast majority of India possibly was already exposed to the virus, and therefore we will not see a second wave. So these kind of perceptions gathered force. And it always happens that people would like to hear what they want to hear. The feeling that the catastrophe had passed prevailed.
So like the US and India too, the second wave has been quite severe compared to the first one, with the country now reporting over twice as many cases as it did during the first week. Do you think we didn't learn any lessons from other countries as well?
Yes, we did, but possibly because we did not anticipate this. See, the first wave happened when we had a small number of cases, then we had a prolonged and countrywide lockdown, then multiple stages of release from the lockdown. And for quite some time, till the end of the year, there were still some restrictions on travel, on people gathering in large numbers. We eased ourselves back into normal life relatively slowly. Then after the middle of January, it was suddenly a very open society, bustling with activity and with a lot of travel, national and international, and back to business in every sense. So the virus and the variants that entered India had a great opportunity to rise very fast.
Despite the continuous surge, public gatherings like the Kumbh and the election rallies continued. How fair was it? It's only on Saturday that the Prime Minister said that the ongoing Kumbh in Haridwar should have a symbolic participation due to COVID crisis. Do you think this decision came too late?
Well, I think the problem was that when some of these events were being planned in middle of January, as I said, the popular perception was that all the pandemic was really behind us and India would not have a second wave. That was a very unfortunate perception shared widely across the public, some sections of the health professionals, and of course by the policymakers. So I think a calendar of events was planned with that perception. If we had anticipated that we have to keep the guard up for a few more months. I was, for example, saying that at least till April, we must not let the guard down. We must watch the situation carefully. But it was planned that we could go ahead with resumption of normal life in every sense of the word.
Sir, also, are you seeing any change as in the current wave of COVID is not sparing children or say people who are young? Do you see any such change with the new mutant virus or something like that?
Well, it's being reported, it's being stated that particularly children in the age group of 0 to 19 are getting more affected in larger numbers. But there are several possible explanations for this. One is that in the first wave, even beyond the unlocking period, children were not very mobile. Not only schools were closed as they are now, but mobility was restricted, and it was adults who went to work, if at all, and it was adults who went for the marketing. There were no major social events happening. But now with the full opening of the society in January and then onwards, you have children gathering in large numbers, playing with abandon, traveling with families, going to cinemas, malls. And therefore, it is not surprising that people in the younger age group are getting affected in more numbers. The second reason is that the people who are in the older age group were already infected last year, and they may not be susceptible now. Some of them have been vaccinated now. After all, preference was given to the older age group, so they may be protected. So we'll have to take all these factors into account before saying, oh, suddenly children are susceptible. Of course, anybody is susceptible to exposure and infection, but children are getting much more exposed now. Still, we have to get concerned. If they are getting seriously ill, then we have to take precautions, and we also have to look at how they can be best treated. So separate treatment protocols for handling children and managing them well will have to be developed. We can't treat this as a simple matter. We have to certainly develop methods for it. But I think we have to look at all the factors that have led to why children are being reported in higher numbers before concluding that the virus is suddenly having a special tendency to attack children.